This is better? Yeah. So Dr. Bushra Alam has 30 years of experience in working in the health sector in Bangladesh. She's worked in the government. She's also worked in the international agencies like the UN, the UK Aid, and the DFID. Currently, she's the senior health specialist at the Health and Nutrition and Population Global Practice of the World Bank and leading the World Bank Health Agenda of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Ma'am, can I ask you to come to the stage? Please take a seat. We have with us Ms. Runa Khan, a social entrepreneur, founder and executive director of Friendship. Her philosophy is people can live with poverty, but they cannot live without dignity and hope. She has broken the silo and successfully integrated health, education, disaster management, and economic development in vulnerable, hard-to-reach areas. Ma'am, can I ask you to come on stage? We have Ms. Zahida Fiza Kabir, who's the CEO of Sajeda Foundation, which is a unique social enterprise that is also the majority shareholder of Renata Limited, a corporate pharmaceutical company. She's also a board member at Renata Limited and chairperson of PHWC and the MD of Home and Community Care and Inner Circle Private Limited. Welcome, ma'am. Dr. Rumana Dawla, please come on stage. She's the founder chairman of Bangladesh Palliative and Supportive Care Foundation and also the advocacy focal person for International Association of Hospice and Palliative Medicine. She's also the consultant of palliative medicine at United Hospital. Dr. Arif Mahmood, he is an experienced public health specialist and is the director of medical services at Evercare Hospital in Bangladesh. It is the only JCI accredited hospital in Bangladesh. Ms. Moshumi Islam is the president of Association of Grassroots Women Entrepreneurs BD and is also the managing director of Promexco Group. She has played a crucial role during the time of pandemic in manufacturing protective gears for healthcare provider and medical supplies. She was at the forefront of distributing these supplies to the last mile and also initiated policy intervention. Welcome, ma'am. Last but not the least, we have our chief guest, the Honorable Executive Chairman of Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, Mr. Lokman Hussain Mia, who is also the former Secretary to the Health Services Division, Ministry of Health and Family Planning, Government of Bangladesh. Welcome, sir. This gentleman, he has played a pivotal role, a very critical role during the time of pandemic. He was at the helm of procuring all the vaccines and ensured people to the last mile, they all got inoculated, they all got vaccinated at the right time. And he successfully managed the crisis period of the pandemic, for which Bangladesh came 5th in the world and top in South Asia in COVID recovery index. A big round of applause, please, for the panelists. The basic aim of any health system is to ensure quality and affordable access to healthcare for everyone. Bangladesh's agenda is similar. The country is also committed to achieve universal health coverage by the year 2032, which means providing access to healthcare for each and everyone and not causing financial hardship. The size of the entire Bangladesh health industry is approximately $7 billion, with a very thriving private sector that covers 65% of the entire sector. We have over 5,000 hospitals in the private sector and more than 9,500 diagnostics in the private sector as well. And 55,000 beds, hospital beds, are provided by the public hospitals, whereas the private sector provides 95,000 beds in the hospital beds. Throughout the world, women's participation in healthcare industry outperforms all other sectors. 65% of the total health workforce are women working as doctors, nurses, midwives, and community health workers. There are more CEOs in healthcare sector than in any other industry. The scenario is the same in Bangladesh. And not only that, Bangladesh is also in a better position compared to the global average in terms of gender pay gap. Other than being healthcare providers, an explosive growth is happening in women-led health techs, popularly known as femtech. Prava, Maya Appa, Moner Bondhu, Amar Lab, Pulse, Dhaka Cast, Airoggo, Shambhav, all these are women-led health techs in Bangladesh. There are endless investment opportunities in the health sector in the country, whether it is in building healthcare workforce, increasing facilities, investing in health information system, introducing health insurance, manufacturing devices, performing clinical trials, the list can go on. And there's growing evidence that having more women in leadership improves businesses' bottom lines and improves the productivity as well. We will discuss all these issues today with this fantastic panel that we have and cover topics like medical tourism, foreign investment opportunities, and how to replicate the successful programs of the NGOs. So I will open the discussion and ask our keynote speaker, Dr. Bushra Alam, to please come and make the keynote speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Maliha. You had really set the stage for me to speak today. And now to start with, Honorable Chief Guest, Executive Director of BIDA, Mr. Lokman Hussain Mia, and also the former Senior Secretary of Health Service Division, whom I had the opportunity to work with. And he had done a tremendous job during our COVID response. Dignitaries on stage, all protocols observed, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and electronic and print media. Good afternoon to you all. I'm really happy and delighted to be able to speak, to be the keynote speaker in this occasion and on a topic which is very dear to my heart and which is about health delivery landscape in Bangladesh. So when we talk about the health delivery landscape, we should know what we mean by health. As WHO defines health, it is the state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being. But what do we really look into? When it comes to physical, we all look into it. But what about the mental or the wellness, which is the topic of today's discussion? We tend to ignore the mental well-being, as well as this is something which is attached to taboos, and we tend to put it under the carpet. Now with COVID, this situation has really aggravated, and it's time for us to really look into it and work towards it. That being said, as I really need to speak on the landscape, I would like to let you know that there has been tremendous progress in Bangladesh in terms of health outcomes and indicators. But what we did is we had really reaped the benefit of all the low-hanging fruits. Now the last mile is what is really needs concentrated efforts from all sectors and everyone. Without that, we cannot achieve our SDG 3. So which is the SDG 3 mainly focuses on maternal mortality ratio, and which for Bangladesh is set at 70 per 100,000 live birth. And we stand at 171. That really says that that last mile would be hard for us. Now, let's look into there are still good things. Let's look into the average life expectancy. It was only 51 in 1990, and it has really come up to around 72, and where women is 75.4. So we live longer than men. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we do live longer. So men have to do something to live longer than us. Now, I have already spoken about the SDG 5 target, but as this is a woman entrepreneurship and as there is so many women, what we need to look into is not only on SDG 3, but also on SDG 5. That is about gender equality. And women play a significant role there. And we need to look into the status of women in the society. How can we really bring it up? It's not only about entrepreneurs. It's much more than that. the rural woman, the woman who is also coming to work every day using a public transport. What is the situation there? Data says about 94% of women coming in a bus has been subjected to some sort of verbal, physical, or sexual abuse. Is that what we want in a society? No. And it's the men or the children that we need to start educating since they're very young. So it cannot be everything woman driven. It's men and women together, because men are the change makers. Now coming into the issue of child mortality, Bangladesh achieved the MDG4 award much ahead of time. And I would like to let all of you know, it was the World Bank and a write-up who advocated for Bangladesh, saying that Bangladesh has achieved the MDG4. And then we got the award, and it was also written by me. And I feel so happy to say it here. And the then minister was very much aware of that. So now coming into immunization, around 85, which is a very high rate, 85% of all children are immunized under 2 years. But what about the 15%? So we want a country where we leave no one behind. So the last child also needs to be immunized. It's not an easy job. Even in developed countries, they haven't been able to come up to 85% in a lot of developed countries. But Bangladesh has done extremely well there. Now, talking into the type of health system, Bangladesh has a pluralistic nature of health service delivery. It is not the public sector, it is public and private working together. So each public and private complement each other. So now coming into the private sector. In private sector, there are different actors working there. There's for-profit private sector, for-profit private sector, and for non-profit. In profit, there are large hospitals, but there are also, small clinics or small doctor chambers. These are all private. So there are many different types. But there are also, for entrepreneurs, there has been a lot of startups by many entrepreneurs, and especially the telemedicine, which started during the COVID due to demand, and that is something that we can really think of going ahead with. On the public health, when we talk about health, we generally think it is only the health ministry that provides health services. Ministry of Health provides health services, but other than Ministry of Health, there are other ministries which also provide health services, but it is generally for their employees and their families. Ministry of Railways has a railway hospital. Ministry of Defense has the combined military hospitals. Ministry of Home Affairs, and all of these, like police and BJP hospitals. So these are all some examples. But now coming to the issue of all these providing health services, but now if we come to the issue of beds or health personals, this is where we need some attention. Okay, on that, I would say, looking into the healthcare providers, WHO says there should be around 45 health personals per 10,000 population. But in Bangladesh, we just have 11.7%. So that really shows the number of people that should be there and the number of people that is there. So what does that do? Even within that number of people, there are vacancies. So the vacancies are most among doctors, which are about on the sanctioned positions in the public health sector, which is around 40%. So in that case, there is a lot of overload in those who are working in those facilities, and for that overload, the quality suffers. And if we really look into the type of service delivery in Bangladesh, the public sector, it's a well-tiered system. It starts from the community clinics to the union level facilities, to the Upazila health complexes, to the district level, and then the medical colleges and specialized hospitals. But there is a tendency of doctors to stick on the lowest level is the district. So they tend to be very much deployed there, or they tend to stay there. So for those working below, it's an overload on the number of people that are there. So on the other issue, now looking into the production, where I would really ask some attention from entrepreneurs. If we look into the production of doctors and nurses, 11,000 doctors are produced per year, whereas 17,000 nurses are produced per year. But WHO says that in a country there should be 1 doctor, 3 nurses, and 5 paraprofessionals, right? So in Bangladesh, it is skewed. We have 1 doctor, 0.3, 1 doctor, 0.3 nurses, and 0.6 nurses, and 0.3 paraprofessionals. So it's very skewed. So we need to increase the number of nurses that are, there is a huge gap there. So if we have a production capacity of 70, we'll never reach there. So we would need, you know, private sector, entrepreneurs to really come in. And if you can really help in setting up, you know, that educational facilities, so we can produce more nurses. And these nurses would not only, if trained well, be there to fill in the gaps, but they can also go outside, because all over the world there is an acute crisis of nurses. So they will also bring in our foreign currency that we are all looking into and help in the country's economic development. So that's an area that we would really be, you know, hopeful that we have more people coming in. Now, looking into the health financing, Bangladesh health financing is characterized by high out-of-pocket expenditure. And by high, I mean around 63.6, which is around 64%. And that is sometimes the reason why people get into hardship. And when we talk about universal health coverage, that is something that we should be looking into it. And 11% of each household's income, 11% is spent for this healthcare seeking. So on the other hand, you know, private sector, you know, if you look into the number of beds, and thanks to Maliha who just put in all those number of beds, those number of beds are really a lot, but they are really geared to people who can pay for it. Health is a human right. If I cannot pay for it, I won't get the service. So this is a public good. And it is the responsibility of all governments to ensure that. How it will ensure it, it can be a different discussion. But number of beds doesn't always signify the type of care that we get. So it's for governments to really have some sort of oversight on the quality of care. Yes, the big hospitals, yes, they're doing well. But there are also smaller hospitals, and the quality of care needs to be looked into. And some of those small hospitals have government doctors working in those hospitals. So that's another area, governance area, that needs to be looked into. Rather than working on where they're getting paid for, they do double time. So that's not something which should be done. So this governance part of it is very important. Every human being needs to have access to quality healthcare services in facilities with right kind of human resources, skill mix with the support of different sectors at all levels in Bangladesh. So by that, I mean skill mix. Sometimes we think we just need doctors. No, there are a lot of things that can be done by paramedics, by nurses. Let's work around it, and let's do the task shifting that can be done. I understand it's easy for a person like me to stand here and say it, but for government to do it, I'm also a doctor. I belong to an organization like BMA. They would come up and say, no, 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 we don't want nurses to take up my job. But that's not it. This is a negotiation. It's a very hard negotiation. It's easy to say to the government, but how does government do it? Or people like us will get into a strike. So this is a very complex system that works, and we need to be all aware of it. And now coming, as this is about entrepreneurs, and it has been really set up by entrepreneurs, I cannot just stop by saying the landscape, so I have to say a few words about them. I would like to close this session with my appreciation for the entrepreneurs who are working to really bring in changes in health services, not only in health, in education, in technology, in architecture, and also in different sports, among all others. But there is also something that I would like to say. We say there are big entrepreneurs, many women, but I would like to see more women. Only 7.2% of all businesses are owned by women in Bangladesh. And it is from a very valid study which was done by American Express, some sort of something, which I can give the data to any one of you. So I don't want to see this 7.2. I want to see us up there competing equally with men and also doing much more, because working under a woman, they would really ensure a very safe environment for other women to work, and not only for entrepreneurs, but also for employees to have a safe working environment. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Thank you, Dr. Bushranam. That was a wonderful, elaborate presentation of the Bangladeshi healthcare landscape. You covered each and every topic, and I learned a lot from that. And I'm glad you touched the topic about the nurses or the additional medical assistant workers who can actually help set up a better general medicine practice as well to reduce the burden on the doctors. So I will open the discussion now to our panelist, Ms. Runa Khan. So my question to you, your work with the underprivileged people in the hard-to-reach shore areas, where people are more prone to flooding and erosion, it has led you to develop a floating hospital, and you are directly contributing to the access to get healthcare in the hard-to-reach areas. How do you recommend scaling it up, particularly more so with the rapid climate change and displacements? And the other question, actually this is related, you were at the COP27 summit recently. You know, we have a double burden issue in the country of communicable and non-communicable. Do you see the climate change health hazards becoming the third burden for our healthcare system?
I will come back to the second question later, but just to start, that we already have it. We already have this third burden on us. Thank you very much for inviting me today, our guests, honorable panelists. So 20 years ago, I started working in an area where 40,000 NGOs in the country, and for some reason, I was not finding dependable quality access to services anywhere. And it was, you know, finding a child who was burnt for 3 days, and there was not even oil or a paracetamol available to ease the pain. There were women whose child had died of diarrhea, could not bring the child over to our ship, you know, though we had some services, just because of 5 taka, which was needed. So we have millions of people in Bangladesh. The government is aware, NGOs are aware, we are all aware they're there. But the point was that 20 years ago, they were so voiceless. You could hardly reach out to them, and it was so difficult. Internet was not there, we didn't have cell phones, roads were all broken. But the commitment of ensuring that each life matters, each life that we touch, we should leave it behind with strength and with dignity, was what started our concepts of floating hospital. Now, you know, there are so many things, Dr. Bushra, which you touched on, which are actually, you can talk for hours on. We see all these happening, which are reality. But in these areas, the one reality was that no one could access service. There was not a shop. There was not even grame doctor rachilo na. You know, you didn't even have these gammo doctors. EPI, at the time when it was 72%, in these areas, you could hardly find a child who had 3 injections, actually. So all below like 10, 15%. These are everybody was suffering from scabies. How can you put a doctor on a floating hospital and expect them to continue services? And how many can we reach? So we needed to totally re-evaluate how to reach. And then there was this question of how do you I had questions from the head of USAID, that how do you identify the poor? I mean, for God's sake, you just put up a panel and don't have, a shamiana or something, don't have chairs, let them sit on the floor, they can all sit on the floor, and have a straight line, first come, first serve, and I tell you, no rich people is going to stand in the line. So that was very easy. What was difficult was to keep the trust of the people, to ensure that they know that we have not come to take away their livers and their lungs. That is the situation I found them in when I went. How do you keep, and how do you give dependable quality service, which is on a mobile, kind of a situation? So what we did was we developed what Dr. Bushra, you said, something where we said that actually we cannot have as many doctors as needed. But 85 to 88% of the people were just needing primary health care. So primary health care which could develop into life and death, worms, things like this. So I put the whole healthcare system through a filter. Right at the bottom were those which the communities can be trained to serve. Then we went up to the satellite clinics. What satellite clinics could do, what the paramedics could do, no need to go to the doctor. And then you have the first tier, which are the doctor medical services with laboratories, eyes, etc. So this, and the whole thing, to make it synergetically effective, we put in through an in-house built software, which we are now using in Uganda and in Slovakia also, yes, right now. So, as the ship moved, the other thing was to ensure that we did not leave anybody behind. But it was not enough. What is this SDG One Health? So I am the co-president of the SDG One Health between Europe and between France and Germany. I'm an honorary president there. So what do we talk about? Healthcare is an element. We need a total, if you want to ensure that a community or that one person needs to go, has all the needs which they need, access to the needs. They have, what is it that they need? When climate strikes them, and these were the most vulnerable communities in Bangladesh. And that was the reason why no other NGOs were really working there dependably long term. So in these areas, you can cure a person of a disease. They go and they don't have enough food. They go and then the floods come and then the lands break, they migrate. I have people who have migrated 62 times in their lifetime, losing everything. Can you just think for a moment how it is? Every time you're migrating, you're losing everything. And that is what we needed to see, how we could tackle that. So we needed to ensure that climate actions, which actually included training, understanding their whole economic, social, and political ecosystem, were understood by the people. Bangladesh government actually has great laws. Let's face it. It's one of the only countries in the world where even in a private hospital, they have to see a patient if they come in with an emergency. How many people know this? There are people who can go to the judge courts and they will get a lawyer, they can demand a lawyer. How many people know this? Today we are now putting in our community people in the judge courts. They all have their own little rooms, and actually the judges are taking in when they are writing their difficulties to the court directly. So you need to give more than health. You need to understand that one health, you have to provide a total solution if you want the communities to come up. And this is a big responsibility for the government, because you cannot have meeting SDG goals or MDG goals with the whole group of millions and millions of people sinking every day and getting poorer, and some part of the country only getting richer. SDGs are not going to hit, can't be achieved, nor can you actually have sudden intervention and inputs of funds to ensure an SDG goal just for ticking the box. The healthcare system needs to be fixed. The education system needs to be fixed. A sudden input or suddenly creating a lot of healthcare clinics, giving food to the children to come to school is not the long-term, is not a long-term solution. So I think all of us here, we need to understand this and work. I think we all understand this. It's just how are we going to find this solution? And deeply inside, as you spoke very rightly about ethics, I think we have to come down to a few things. Understanding with empathy. People are not stupid. Do you know that we have community medics who could hardly read and write, had not passed their high school. Today they're getting because our training modalities are all accredited by the government, and so are their business plans. They are actually being accredited as community clinic workers. And they have their own modality. So even if they're not there, they can continue their work. The business plan is also accredited by the government. So we have parasolar technicians, we have paravets, and these people are incredible. They are the frontliners. They are the ones who, when this COVID struck, were the first to give the services in the fields. You know, we could hardly access, our staff could hardly access. So it is training them to give the services, and this is compulsory not only for us, also for development agencies and organizations to understand that if the world want a more equitable world, a world with equity, they need to develop the people who are left behind, the voiceless. So that's where I come from. I don't know if there is time to show a 2-minute video, just to give you an idea of what we could do this later also if you want. Yes, so that's where I come from, and I really hope that this is a journey we can take all of you with, especially the doctors here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Runa Khan. That was wonderful hearing your real-world experience. Can we move to now, like Ms. Zahida Fiza Kabir? Apa, your Sajada Foundation, it's an epitome of social enterprise. It's led by you, where you could invest part of the revenue you garner from the Renata Pharmaceuticals to deliver healthcare to people of all strata. My question to you is that I continuously see that you're expanding your line of services. You do the microfinance, then it led to building hospitals, then it led to building other programs, awareness programs. So do you have a strategy that you have from before, or do you do it more need-based? Because you have heavily invested recently on mental health. And so, yeah, do you have a strategy? And how difficult has it been as a health entrepreneur, as a woman, to make these changes? Over to you, Appa.
Yeah. Thank you. Sajida Foundation is a unique social enterprise which was created from a private sector initiative. So that is itself, it's a unique constitution of the organization. But then again, we have Renata Limited, which is a very ethical, transparent and accountable, private sector initiative. And then whatever Renata profits, 51% of it comes to Sajida Foundation.
Right.
And then on we can develop our programs and other initiatives. So that itself makes us a bit different than traditional NGOs in Bangladesh. And what we feel that is kind of the way forward, creating, ethical organizations which mission has a social impact component in it. So that is something that Sajida was built upon. So currently we have microfinance on one side, we have programs catered to the vulnerable population, and we have couple of other social enterprises, concentrating on mental health. So as you asked, why mental health? So in the keynote speech, it was highlighted that health entails physical health, mental health, and social well-being as a whole. So in the last 7-8 years, we saw that in areas of mental health, and also in Bangladesh, as it was stated in the keynote speech, that our life expectancy has gone in many folds. So we saw that in areas of mental health and geriatric care, even international quality services are not available even for the people who can afford to pay. So what we thought is that why not we invest in areas of mental health and geriatric care, bring in international quality services for the top of the pyramid, and then leverage that experience, leverage that through them we could leverage human resources and the experience, and then we take that experience to create programs for the underprivileged. So that was kind of the logic behind going into enterprises focusing on mental health and geriatric care. So as stated in the discussion, that we see in the challenges of running these enterprises is capacity building. How do we produce paraprofessionals? For example, in elderly care, the caregivers. How do we produce international standard caregivers? How do we produce para-counselors? So as we know that professional or professionally trained psychologists or therapists or psychiatrists, the number will never match. The ratio will probably, so we don't match the ratios of physical health, let alone mental health. So that's kind of the way forward, that we produce a set of paraprofessionals to kind of be at the front line, and they then go into a tiered approach. So basically that is what we do. So we try to work together with the government. So in COVID, you saw that we could immediately join hands with the government by dedicated 2 of our hospitals for COVID care with the government. When the pandemic broke out in the border district, we could immediately again collaborate with the government in government hospitals in the border districts. So it is because the partnership between the government, the private sector, and the not-for-profit sector, it worked very well.
So Appa, can I ask you this other thing, because we are on the topic, that do you think alternative like a blended finance that combines private sector capital with public funding to achieve development goals, would it be a sustainable option to replicate what you've been doing in a larger scale?
So I was coming to that this within the country, this worked very well, right? This collaboration. But when we talk about, there are, investors abroad who want to invest in Bangladesh, who want to invest in these, service sectors, and they see the potential in investing in Bangladesh, because it's such a country with population, right? But we have to give them ease of doing business. We have to provide them that platform. So that is where we struggle when we when we talk to potential, social impact investors, we have to kind of work around it. How do they take their money back? Because they want a return, but a nominal return. They're not looking for high profits, because these are impact investors. So that platform, has to be created. And the same, it's the other way around. So organizations like Sajida, it has the capacity to invest abroad in joining hands with these, impact investors in equal platform, and then bring the money back. But then again, the struggle of, taking money abroad legally, right? Because Sajida Foundation is known to be a very transparent, accountable, and compliant organization. So, we can't do anything which doesn't address that. So those are the areas I think we need to kind of raise our voice and show, there are, organizations who are committed, committed in making changes in people's lives, and also at the same time, be compliant, be value driven. So how do we kind of encourage these organizations and bring in international partners in doing so? So now, lastly, I would say that this is very, very essential because the funding mechanism, as we see, that is changing. So it's not, the donors are not interested in funding, regular programs. Like I give you X amount of money, you implement program, that's it. There are different mechanisms of funding. And if we cannot join hands, and so Runapa would know, in being in COP27, even climate change funding, it's so complex. It's about climate investment fund, this fund, that fund. So when you talk about funding your, community-based, like Runapa's program, it's very limited. That discussion is very limited. It's all about different types of mechanisms of funding. And if we cannot join hands in that game, we will lose out.
Thank you,
Thank
Appa.
you.
Thank you. I see the key words being we need to scale up our healthcare workforce. We need more transparency, accountability when it comes to funding. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, Appa. So I'll come to Dr. Rumana Daula. So you are working in palliative care. Do you think palliative care is a fast-growing service? Should it be brought under the mainstream? And do you see investors abroad investing in special palliative care institutions? Do you recommend it for Bangladesh? And at the same time, I think it goes hand in hand with non-communicable diseases, because 67% of our deaths are happening due to this burden. So do you see a future, or, I mean, the future is already here, I think, where we need more screening of NCDs. So your spiel on that, please.
Thank you so much, Rama. And I'm so happy to be with all the panelists. I deeply respect and admire all your work. Speaking on palliative care, before that, I think the tone is already set. From our keynote, we have seen what we need to address. We have seen the work being done in the community. We have seen the other end, where a social enterprise, a business, which is working more for the social enterprise and addressing these issues, and they're looking after elder care, which is somehow related to palliative care. So we often work together, and so this area is unaddressed to a large extent. Bangladesh, as we see, that 170 crore approximately, and 50% women, our mortality is 850,000 per year approximately, and 67% of that mortality morbidity is from non-communicable diseases, which means it's from cardiovascular diseases, respiratory diseases, diabetes mellitus, cancer, and dementia with old age related issues. So these are all non-communicable disease burden that we have. Our government has done tremendous work in the primary health care. That's why we have achieved, our indicators are fantastic. The maternal mortality is remarkably low now. We have infant mortality. Of course, we want it better, but we have one of the best services in grassroots level, and our structure, the way it's from tertiary to primary healthcare level, the way EPI is taken care of, for example, is really fantastic. So that being taken care of, what do we do with the other end when our life expectancy with good primary health care and better health structure, what we are having now is better health to some extent, and we are living longer. So now it used to be about 51 in 2005, right? 55, yes. And now it is 72.9, almost 73, and apparently, and we are, women are living longer. We better think fast. So if we are living 75, who is taking care of us? What is going to happen to us? All these NCDs are just waiting for us. I'll come back to the other detail later. So what we are looking at is a burden that if we don't address this, the whole healthcare system is going to suffer. So the way to address is these long-term, incurable diseases, state of those diseases, also the pain that comes along with some of these diseases. If you have seen any cancer patient who had, towards when it spreads, the pain is tremendous. And what you need is opiates. So these areas bring this issue to the forefront, that what do we do with the pain? How do we address it? That's when palliative care is the demand is created. Who takes care of those patients? Palliative physician. Do we have it? No. What do we do about it? The three things what we need to implement this is policy, right policy. That means the government has to have proper guideline and implementation and training manual for palliative medicine. It has to be included in the medical curriculum. It has to be included in the nursing curriculum. It has to be present for the paramedics. And what we have done very recently in 2018, DGHS commissioned, we were in the task force for palliative medicine group, and it is now we have a palliative medicine guideline. But the cry has been there. People have been suffering. We had sustained release tablet, morphine. Now we didn't have immediate release morphine. So when we have tremendous pain, you want the pain to go now. You don't want to wait for 8 hours for it to work. So we didn't have immediate release morphine. Well, it's 15 to 20 minutes to work, starts to work after 15, 20 minutes. Still, it's almost the relief we need is fast. So we didn't have it till 2015. 2013, we worked at it with tremendous help from International Pain Policy Studies Group. So as a fellowship, I had to go there, learned who to talk to, came back, spoke with the narcotics department, health ministry, DGHS, and that then a health advisor tried to find out how to do it. Our mentors came from abroad. We sat together, then worked out, and we saw that in our narcotics manual, we were not allowed to write opiates except for the director of the hospital. I mean, any doctor could have been taken to court. The amendment was very lightly done, and we had to address those, there was clause 13, 18 had to be changed. And now we have drafted with the help of everybody, because if someone doesn't look for it, of course things can be overlooked. And so to address that, everyone can write. And let's remember, opiate is a part of the essential medicine list. 20 medicines that we need to have in primary healthcare, we don't have it. Every patient who suffers from pain has to come to Dhaka most of the time, or their family members. They may not come, but family member has to travel to get that medicine written by us with our BMDC number, seal. That is fine, we'll do that, but the medicine should be available in all the district hospitals. We don't want it outside. We understand the issue of dispersion, So we want it properly done with double lock system and proper counting. It can be, addressed. So yes, Bangladesh has come a long way from as we became aware in 2005. Now in 2020, we have the policy in place. We have immediate release morphine. So I said we need policy, we need the right medicines, we need the right training for the healthcare personnel, doctors, nurses, paramedics. So that is slowly being done. I'm looking forward to maybe all the primary healthcare you're doing, maybe we'll have some palliative care training there. So I always try to get that incorporated if possible. You just talked about it. So, I see people addressing this issue and from the heart. If you've seen someone suffer, you do want to relieve that suffering. And palliative care does advocate for relief of suffering mainly. Now we just want to say anyone suffering must receive palliative care, because we believe in not just curing your physical issue, it's physical, mental, social, and psychological issue. We want to take care of you holistically. So that is how we look at a person and their health-related issue or mental issue. And I'm happy to share with you, Roma, and all of you that government is with us, and there's a lot of good work. And I know you also know that you've been there. Our chairman, BIDA chairman, has been there with health for a long time. There's been good work being done even during pandemic, and it has been included in one of the pandemic preparedness from WHO. The policy has changed and it has to be included there. And the good thing is that, are we getting into another question on WHC related? No?
Maybe we are running short of time.
So it's also in SDG 3. After promotive, preventive, curative, rehabilitative, and palliative. So without palliative care, you cannot achieve SDG 3. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Romana. Thank you for your comments. I'll come to now Dr. Arif Mahmood. You are the Director of Medical Services of one of the most renowned corporate private hospitals in Bangladesh, Evercare. So my question to you is, as the head of medical services, what do you see about the medical tourism of Bangladesh? We don't have really a ballpark amount. Some papers suggested $4 billion, which I highly doubt. But there are some say $2.2 million are going out of the country every year on medical tourism, and almost 700,000 people are going abroad to avail medical services because some say that it's as expensive in Bangladesh, why not take it from abroad? So that is one question. And the other thing is, we have seen that many local partners are now collaborating with foreign hospital chains like Apollo, Green Hospital supply chain of supply of Japan, and some Thailand group. They are already here to set up world-class facilities in Dhaka and Chittagong and investing almost 5,000 crore. And this will also enable an additional 15,000 jobs, 3,000 beds. So Evercare is also expanding. I know you have recently opened up a hospital in Chittagong. So what's too many questions, I guess, one at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Malia. So Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Lukman Hossain Mia, who is the Executive Secretary, Chairman of the BIDA, and also he was ex-Senior Health Secretary. I used to work with him also earlier when I was in Evercare. So respected panelists, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon. I'd like to thank the organizer to invite me as a panelist, because I'm delighted today to see all the successful women here. We listen to their story, their success story, their hardship. So we are really delighted. But what Dr. Malia has put me in a trouble. Because we have so many hospitals, as she said, we have 90,000 beds in the private sector and public sector. In private sector, we are providing 65% of the healthcare of the Bangladeshi patient, but still patient going abroad. So I'm coming to that point afterward, but our doctor, our nurses, our hospital are capable to provide all the treatment here. How? Because we have seen during the COVID time, 2 years time, border was closed. Nobody can travel. Am I right? And that time all the minister, all the VIPs, all the general people has taken the healthcare services from the government and private hospitals. So we are capable. But still when the border open, still people are going. Every year data 6 to 8 lakh people traveling to abroad and maximum going to India. 54% of their Indian expert patient, 54% from the Bangladesh. And then Thailand, Singapore, even some people go to UK, USA as well. So why people are going? So there are a lot of research, lot of data there, because there is a trust factor. People say, oh, Bangladeshi doctor do not give time too much, do not provide attention. So that is one of the reasons. And we are working, DZDA is working, Ministry of Health is working to improve that relationship between doctor and patient, which is very important. And second thing is that there are few services are not available in Bangladesh, like cancer, as Dr. Rumana was saying, palliative care, importance of palliative care. So cancer facility, we have every year 2 to 3 lakh new cancer patient, but we have only 31 center who can provide the cancer center, which is not sufficient. Every year patient died around 1.5 lakhs. Only 18 linear center in Bangladesh who can provide the radiotherapy, so which is not sufficient. So patients are going for that. Organ transplantation like liver transplant, heart lung transplant, kidney transplant, we are not doing. So people are going for that. And sometimes people going for other reason also. And all the people are going, they are not affluent society. From the middle class, lower middle class, poor class also going by selling their properties, borrowing money. So we have to develop all these things. We want a lot of hospital in Bangladesh because 18 crore people in Bangladesh. So another problem here, lot of hospital coming up in the Dhaka and Chattogram, but it has to be decentralized because all the patient cannot come to Dhaka to treatment. During the COVID, I have seen, and all we have seen, lot of patient coming to Dhaka, and ICU bed 80% in Dhaka. So what will happen to Borishal, Rangpur if there is ICU bed required? Only 400 bed across the Bangladesh and 800 bed in Dhaka city. So we have to change this. We have to change the policy so that government can expand the services and requests are so that they give facility who will build up the hospital periphery like Rajshahi division, Rangpur division, Khulna, something like that. Then it will be helpful for the people. And what is your second question?
I think you already answered the second question.
Sir, tell me.
It was the same thing, like
so
investing in.
My request, you see the.
I can ask you a separate question if you're okay.
So there
with
is something
it.
you have put
so
in
this,
the
this I think you'll find interesting because I myself have worked in Apollo and I found your.
There is a lot of blame against the hospital, private hospital. I would like to share because I should be upfront here because I am leading a very. Because I am working in a very good reputed hospital. So there is a blame, but to be honest, no.
I only have good things to say about Evercare, trust me.
No, I am not talking about Evercare. I am as a general Bangladeshi, I am saying, because we are here for the people of the Bangladesh. We have to ensure the healthcare need of the Bangladesh, like they are doing by the community services.
So sir, that's why I needed to ask you something. Like this is related. So we always talk about data-driven decision making, right? And for that, actually, we need a very robust healthcare system, information system, where you can collect electronic medical records region-wise, and that will give you an idea of what the disease prevalence are. So if I ask you today that would you want to invest in a very robust health information system, or would you want to invest more in the accreditation? The foreign accreditation, because that will ensure quality healthcare. So two questions, but it's it's related because abroad this is not either or, but for us we have to make choices because of our resources.
You are absolutely right because our information system is very poor because patient when coming from periphery or Dhaka, they have lot of files, MRI, CT scan, blood file, but you can do a single registration in HIS, so one click doctor can get the all information. So ICT minister is doing, health minister is working, we are also working as a partner because which is very much required at this moment in Bangladesh. Because then people do not need to carry all these files. So that is already processed. You know our ICT, how we improve. If you would like to talk about the fourth revolution, so that is all about IT. So digitalization, we are more progress. Our Prime Minister has got the award also for that. So we are in progress. And regarding the accreditation, the bad luck, in our country, there is no accreditation. Accreditation means quality care, safe care. So the people are going abroad. We said just a couple of minutes back, they are going to all accredited hospitals. In India, if you see, there is NABS, and there is JCI accredited hospital. 50 hospitals in India is JCI accredited. People going to Thailand, all Bumanga, Thailand hospital is JCI. Mount Elizabeth is JCI. So JCI money is a seal who is ensure your safe and quality care. So that is lacking in Bangladesh. And Bangladesh, there is no national accreditation, we go for the JCI. And Dubai and Saudi Arabia, there is mandatory. If you would like to apply for a hospital, you have to get the JCA first, then you can apply. So accreditation is very much needed in Bangladesh. I request Sir is here. He was ex-health secretary. He knows very well about this accreditation. We have a meeting also on that. I hope it will coming soon. And that will ensure the safe care to our patient. Thank you for your patient hearing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Arif Mahmood. So we'll come to Ms. Moushumi Islam. Ms. Moushumi Islam, you know, innovation in medical field is ever changing. We are seeing innovation all the time, whether it's treatment, whether it's equipments, whether it's scanning. So you helped amend policies to export medical products like masks, PPE, shoe cover outside the country. And you're also advocating that medical equipment should not be so much import driven. We should be able to make it in Bangladesh. Can you describe your real world experience as a woman working in the government to make new policy development? Did this policy change make your investment opportunity easier? And do you think we are ready for a new sector to develop in medical equipment devices? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chief Guest, Executive Chairman Mida, and distinguished panelists and distinguished guests. Good afternoon. Really a tough question for me. Hard reality in my work. As a woman, when I work, the journey was not comfortable. The main challenge was to build a communication network. But one thing I consider always, I never think as I'm a women entrepreneur. I always considered and approached myself, I'm an entrepreneur. So I developed my networking and I built everything in my journey. And I got some good friends at my journey so that I cope up this. So medical equipment and device really a new era in Bangladesh. And Promisco started 2000. And we came the manufacturing 2015. And when I would share with you, when we came faced the COVID-19, then we suffer many things, and especially life savings equipment. And we already at that time proved that the medical equipment can be produced in Bangladesh with a quality medical equipment. So we have success in our pharmaceuticals, and pharmaceutical market size almost USD 3 billion. And the last 5 years is $1 billion US already invested. So we have success in our pharmaceuticals, but we have a huge dependency in medical equipment and device. So almost 90% medical equipment and device came from abroad. We are manufacturing here 10%. Almost 4,000 categories of medical equipment are using in our country, and especially 400 type of high sensitive equipment are here. So sometimes we face many problems when we importing from abroad, like surgical any instrument. So we have a gap in regulating gap in Bangladesh, like we may not check the quality. So it's a problem. Sometimes we are failing to use the surgical instrument, and very soon it could be malpractice also. So this is the big problem. And importers are just showing the as an assurance on a paper. So we are not assurance the quality only on a paper. So this is the big challenge is medical equipment and device industry in Bangladesh. But I'm proud to say measure of medical equipment manufacturer and in local together we in our own banner medical equipment and device manufacturer and exporter of Bangladesh MedMap. We are through advocacy our policy, reform our structure and cost effective. We are trying and finally I will tell the government medical equipment industry is a industry just recognized last year. It's a very milestone work in government and we did it. So now possible to invest here huge. So the private, we need a private public partnership and we need foreign direct investment and we need innovation technology. So it is a huge opportunities if we invest here. So for investment, we need to reform really infrastructure in a real sense. And I would say the keynote speaker is briefly narrates many things in here, and especially I like the mortality rate is decrease and life expectancy is increase. It's very interesting. So many words here we heard. So I think the time is really come for new arena as it is a new industry. So huge opportunities to invest, and I must say the startup can engage here with right platform, and definitely they will get the financial support, the proper institution, and as well as they can contribute to the economy, as well as they can contribute the healthcare sector. So I think any more question? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Mushmi Islam. So, you're right. I have seen that during the time of COVID, that in the foreign countries they were using 3D printers to make tubes and intubation tubes. And Renata also, they invented their own ventilator system, and they were working with the public hospitals to provide those for the needed patient. And the health tech startups, they have also done a wonderful job in providing, like increasing the access to healthcare for so many, because we are so connected now in Bangladesh. More than like, I think 11 crore people have mobile phones set up, internet. So it's a telemedicine, and all these are a good access. Now I will come to our chief guest, Honorable Executive Chairman, Bida. Sir, you have been at the driving seat during the pandemic. You ensured vaccine procurement at the right time for everyone. We are now going through an economic crisis worldwide, but we forget that we had a crisis just a year ago, and you managed, you along with, of course, our Honorable Prime Minister and the entire sector, health sector. We don't give much credit to the public healthcare sector, but they have done fantastic to save our people, fantastic work. I mean, the COVID management was unparalleled in Bangladesh, and the domestic support. They are the ones who ensured that so many people, so many less lives were lost than in the foreign countries that we've seen. So, sir, you have done, you know the pulse of the people, you understand the landscape of the country when it comes to the healthcare system, because you were in the health ministry then, you were the secretary. And Bangladesh is very good at crisis management, disaster management. What can we do to avoid health crisis and build a robust healthcare system? And now that you're in Bida, do you promote investment by foreign chain hospitals to be built even outside Dhaka to decentralize the healthcare access? And we have almost 180 million people. We will need more world-class hospitals. And I know that previously, before the pandemic, China, Turkey, and Middle East, they were showing interest to come to Bangladesh for investment. Are you opening up the dialogue again, sir? And you also collectively in collaboration with ICT, during the pandemic, you increased the capacities, you know, the Shurakha app. On that note, you also increased the capacities in the hospital, you increased the bed numbers, you centralized oxygen line instead of just giving oxygen cylinders. You have built capacities. So what do you see for Bangladesh now that you're in the investment seat as well, sir?
পিছনে দেখা যাবে, পিছন থেকে তো দেখা যায় না নাকি? Assalamu alaikum. Very good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Dr. Maliha, for her smart presentation, and learned panelists, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. This is a very golden opportunity to me. I think, except everybody are doctor, I am not a doctor, but you are not a doctor, but you are a business with, you deal with doctor. Thank you, but I have opportunity to be a Secretary Ministry of Health during the COVID pandemic. It was 2021, when COVID was peak. That time in 2021, 4th April, government put me as a Secretary Ministry of Health. That day I take the charge, that day there is no vaccine. Our total number of COVID bed only 10,000. You know, we have an agreement, COVID agreement with the Serum Institute and AstraZeneca, but that time India faced the COVID in severely. Their everyday death rate is huge, so they stopped supply the AstraZeneca also. That day I joined more at 9 o'clock, it's an order issue, and 9:30 I joined the Ministry of Health. When I entered my office room, total number of additional secretary, 9th, all 9th additional secretary, they are COVID patient, they are in hospital. 11 joint secretary, 9 is COVID, expert 2. Minister did not office on 1 month before. But that was the common scenario with health. Not only that, everywhere in the country, there is a question who will live or survive, everybody. In day one, first day I received 376 telephone. That was most of the big shot. Everybody asked me, Mr. Secretary, you please you please save my telephone number, please receive me. If I do live or not, that is the question. Before joining this ministry, I have near about 500 doctor numbers saved in my mobile phone. And now it is 1200 plus. And not only that, any doctor, any specialist I can ring just now, I can make it even. Not only that, if you ask any ambassador number anywhere in the world, I have right now. But basically, this is an opportunity for me. I am not doctor, I am a bureaucrat. Before that, I never been Ministry of Health a single day, not a single day. Or thrice or 4th time I maybe visit the secretary room. But this such a type of it. But thanks, Honorable Prime Minister, he trusts me. When I hold my charge, day one I think, what can I do? I think that we have right now 10,000 bed, but bed is very much needed. What is happening is our neighbor country, in different countries, so patients are outside of the hospital, hue and queue, they are running there. One relative is COVID patient, 2 or 3, they are running with the oxygen cylinder and masks. This is not a good scenario. You know, there is a freedom of press. If it is happened, then and then it will be publicity in our all media. You know, it's not a very good symptom. So I think number of bed will be increased. Then under I ask, as for example, BC, Bangabandhu Medical Bishop, I ask BC how many number of COVID bed. Well, sir, right now I have 356. About tomorrow morning you increase in 600. I drop the telephone. Then I asked Dhaka Medical College Director, Mr. Nazmul, how many seats you have? Well, sir, only 600. Tomorrow morning you increase in 1200. right this way, I talked everywhere in the country, in divisional level up to positional level. Within 2 or 3 days, I make it 10,000 to 21,000. This is the crisis management. When you are, if you are become a Dhaka to Borishal passenger, if launch is sank, then what you do? If you can swimming, you lose everything, then you try to survive. If Bhaya is not available, then try to survive how to survive. That was the crucial period. Not only that, that time I got only 150 metric ton oxygen. But oxygen is severely needed. If patient is below 90, then oxygen. If it is 60, 70, oxygen is very needed. But you know, we did not produce oxygen. But Linda and Spectra, they supply oxygen also, both from India. We are very much worried. If it is happen like Tika, what is happening in vaccine? So we are very consciously manages. And there is a many private company. I stop all private company. I give the charge, DG NSI, General Zubair, he is my very good friend. You handle the oxygen. We very efficiently, very smartly, we use it. There is no single question. Those who are our media, thank you very much. They did not, till today, they did not write against a single word during my period. We did it. Then you come to the vaccine, how to manage vaccine. I try my level best how vaccine. Thanks our Honorable Private Principal Secretary, Cabinet Secretary, and President Governor of Bangladesh Bank, he was Finance Secretary, and Senior Secretary, Prime Minister of PMO. Both very good team is there. There is a very good team. Before fight, you need a very good team. If leader is okay, if twice, thrice is okay, then you do a very good fight. COVID fight is more than Ukraine and Russia work. Now Russia and Korea, we are suffering, but we are not worried. But COVID, everybody is worried. Nobody is out of house. Is COVID is calm, it's cash in it is more than. Because it was unseen enemy. All over that. What is happening? Not only for Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a developing. What is happening in America? What is happening in UK? What is happening in Italy? Italy president, he was Nastik, he became Astik. Hey, pray to Allah, nothing to do. What is surrender? What happened in Brazil also? India medical system is better than us. What is number of people? If you compare total number of casualty, till today our total number of casualty 29,450 odd. But what is happening in India, America, very, very good. Not only that. I had opportunity to visit Canada also. The Canada people, what is happening? One of the developed country in the Canada, the people show their hesitation against the vaccination. But we are lucky under the dynamic and visionary leader, Honorable Prime Minister. He gave us freedom. What you needed, you did it. What you need, we did it. Every day we consult with Principal Secretary, Cabinet Secretary, and Finance Secretary, and PM Secretary also. We try to how to purchase the vaccine. Within a very short time, we purchase vaccine from Sinopharm and China also. And then also Sinovac also. Then we made a contact with the Sputnik, but we did not purchase because they are not approved by the WHO. And we urge and request that are all over the world, please, we need severely needed in vaccine also. Not only that, there is another issue, you know. By this time, most of the people we forget. Near about 20 lakh people, they take vaccine first dose, AstraZeneca. But within 3 or 4 months, you needed second dose. But we are not getting AstraZeneca. So there is every day, if you open the TV, there is a talk show, they are speaking what is happening in the yes, now everything is in 90-degree angle and 300-degree angle, they criticize how to. But how can I try my level best how to? Then I searching those who are reserved for the more storage for the AstraZeneca in different countries. We ask them, we talk to their ambassador also, and also engage our ambassador all over the country. They send a request, they have a surplus. So try to receive their surplus, donation also. As for example, Japan gives us 3.4 million, the German 2.3 million, and many countries, near about 23 countries gives donation. Highest donation we receive from the America. Thanks people of America, government of America, they donate 130 million Pfizer and Moderna. And that is the excellent. Not only it is free of cost. If it is purchased, it's value near about 10,000 crores. We purchased total near about 19,000 more, but we received free of course more or less same number. It is happening, not only that. It is possible when I received the vaccine from Sinovac, but it is easier decision. There is a bilateral agreement. The agreement page is total 130 pages. 130 pages. It is 50 Chinese and English language is turnover. There is a terms and condition, but time is very shorter. But we did the agreement. But it is very touchy. Once you put your signature, you are bound to obey. If it is against our interest, then many people are here. They criticize here. I maybe lost my job also. So with the shortest time, we very sharply we did an agreement, a successful agreement with the China, and we supply with that. Thanks Chinese government, they duly supply us Sinopharm. That is a very good, near about initially 70 million, and next 40 million, and Sinovac also 70 million, near about 19 crore, total 19 crore Sinovac purchases also. Bushra is here, he is from World Bank, but when they give money, they are very much tight, no money. But if it is, we are crazy for vaccine, but if they always advise outside of this country vaccine, they are liking country if you purchase, but they are not available. But you cannot purchase from the America because without FDA permission, they do not sell it. You know better than me. But we did it because we have no alternative. So, but thanks our departed American ambassador also, Mr. Milan, he is our very good friend, he helped us. But when we getting this vaccine, there is a challenging how to vaccinate it also. How to vaccinate. It is not a matter of joke, because according to the WHO recommendation, we needed 76% people must be vaccinated. But if I do the 76% vaccinated, there are about 13 or 14 crore people may be vaccinated. But by this, within shortened time, we training our people, near about doctor, nurse, and helper, we made it near about 1 lakh. You know, you have an idea, in single day we vaccinated 8 million people. That means 80 lakh people. It's a world record. And then second round, we vaccinated single day 12.6 million. That means 1 crore. 1 crore, 20 lakh 75 doses vaccine is single day. It's a world record. Nobody can did it in the world except Bangladesh. So Bangladesh, we within a shortest time, we vaccinated our people first dose and second dose also. Not only that, we also use this booster dose also, Pfizer and Moderna. If those who are like booster, those who are fly from outside of Bangladesh, they need a COVID vaccine card. Without COVID card, you did not vaccine. But there is a mandatory. You needed Pfizer, Moderna, or AstraZeneca. But if it is Sinopharm, Sinovac booster, you are not allowed to visit the Western country and another country also. So we successfully, we developed a Surakha apps, and we also successfully did it. That was a huge job. We did it. Single day, we vaccinated near about 1.20 lakh people, but there is no incident. What is happening? There is interesting. If we see, if we arrange a milad, if there is a 500 or 600 people, there is a hue and queue. Not only that, there is some, I have opportunity, I was DC, I was magistrate, I was commissioner everywhere. If there is a normal gathering in our village, there is a hue and queue. Sometimes they throw the chair also. But single day we vaccinated 1.20 lakh people, there is no single instance. Everything is done smoothly. It is possible due to, we try our level best to take everybody on board. Government official, businessman, intellectual, politician, everybody. We urge them, please help us. We make a committee up to Upazila level, up to ward committee also, because I have experience. I do work in the Upazila. I was magistrate, I was DC, I was commissioner. Most of the challenges job I do in my life, so I had and have opportunity how to handle the people, how to gather the people, how to manage the crisis also. Only you can say, you can criticize within everybody, but when I give a, please solve the solution, nobody can raise. It is easy to say, but it is difficult to do. those who are here, everybody has an aim in life. In your aim in life, when we were the student of school and college, there is an essay. Everybody write an essay. Your aim in life. Most of the good words are used in aim in life. What you did it? If you find out your class 8 or 10 essay and you compare your present life, what you did, what was his aim in life you written in 20 years before, and what you did in everyday life. Good governance is very important. We can say many things, but we did not follow. We advise people, but we did not follow. If we good governance, if we are committed, if we are sincere, if we are transparent, if we are very much pro people, we love myself, we love my wife, I love my wife, I love my son, I love my daughter. Most of the people, we don't love the people also. So it is very essential. But the panel is saying that what is happening, I think there is no problem. If the all doctor is like me, nobody is visiting India. And within month, within 6 months, it is a step follow. If you are committed, when you are doctor, you will say you will be the second man. After got your position is here. When patient come here, be patient, be friendly, be cooperative. Most of the patients, those who visit from India, I ask them why you are go to the India. But Indian doctors are very good. Why they are very good? They ask, Dada, how are you? শরীরটা কেমন আছে, মনটা ভালো আছে কিনা, বসে কথা টথা বলে ইত্যাদি ইত্যাদি। আর আমাদের এখানে গেলে বলে সময় নাই, আগেই যে গেটেতে থাকে সে প্রেসক্রিপশন লিখে দিয়ে দেয়। This is the problem. I was divisional commissioner in Khulna. Every day, madam from here, in Banapal border, 10 to 12,000 people travel India. 80 to 30%, 70 to 80% for a medical treatment. When they visit in India, they bring 3 or 4 lakh taka, go to Devi Shetty. And when he saw in Bangladesh, most of the doctors, they say, you need open heart surgery. But Devi Shetty, touch her heart, but say nothing. You need 2 tablets. Okay, he's happy. Then he crazy for 2 pulses, Benarosi Shari, etc., etc. If operation, he lost, he needed 2 or 3 lakh. If she is not operation, then he crazy for buy everything. About 2 or 3 baggage is overloaded. This is the very touchy issue, because if we are patient, we lose our foreign currency. If we are not present, is a very good. So everybody should be cooperative, helpful, friendly. If we are very much committed, what government did, Madam Aksir, Bushra Madam especially, during COVID period, during COVID period, we appointment near about 16,000 doctors. And now total number of doctors 48,000. Nurse near about 65. It's not standard. But a balance of diet, I never take balance of diet. So it's okay. Now I am running 61. I did not take a single pill. My sugar level is 5.5. Last 32 years, my pressure is 110 by 70. My cholesterol is 170. So if you always compare in America, if you look at the people of the America, there is many people, that is not a good health. Or always, because they are civilized 100 years before. What is happening Britain? What is happening Britain? We are 200 plus Bangladesh by India, this is their colony. We never depress anybody, but we run our resources limited. But what is happening under the dynamic leadership, Honorable Prime Minister, last 14 years, before 14 years you compare our per capita income, only 750. What is happening? 400 time increase, 824. About regarding health, in 10 years before, only 10 government medical college hospitals, now 41. We need some time. Huge government nursing institute are establishing. If it is totally operated, we require near about 2027. Not only that, if government desire, in tomorrow we requirement 40,000, 5,000 doctor is not available. Nurse is not available. What is happening? In COVID period, I think I require more nurses and doctor. I asked the PSC chairman, sir, I need nurse. By this time here, written examination is okay. But sir, without viva, without viva, you give me appointment. I say, how it is possible? How do you? I say, nothing. You sir, tomorrow if you are COVID patient, if you are go to the ICU, what is happening? If a nurse is beside you, then there's something. You have your choke is open, you find the nurse is okay. Then Bhabi may not be there because COVID is very serious. All I see, what is happening? But you hold a very important post. Is a constitutional post. Sir, make an amendment. It's a very crucial and force. It is a critical time we passing. So force enforcement. There is a abnormal time. You please make a meeting, and within a show, without viva, you please select the nurse. Then I make an arrangement with him. I talk to him. Also, how it is possible? Also, how many numbers are qualified in written examination? PSC chairman told me, well, 8,500 nurses, but our demand only 4,000. I said it was, the meeting was continued 10:30 p.m. At night. That was Saturday. Okay, sir, you please, without viva, if I give a requisition letter for 8,500, it's okay. Without viva, you give me. Also, PSC chairman told me without viva, it is not possible. I'm saying if I purchase everybody whole, then there is no question. Well, okay, it's okay. Next day I give a due. Sir, please give me 8,500 nurse. He asked me how it is possible. Yesterday at 11 o'clock night you talk to me, and early in the morning you give me a letter. How it is possible? Did you take any consent from the higher authority? I'm saying myself is the senior secretary Ministry of Health. It is my jurisdiction. If I face any problem, that is my matter. That is not your matter. Sir, you please, what I write, you please do accordingly. Then I send the summary, Honorable Prime Minister within hour approve that summary also. It is happening. What is, when it is crisis, if we are on board, this way, that is possible. What you are saying that it is a, it's a very good, but you are very choosy word, very dynamic and smart words, you use it. But country like Bangladesh, we are not saturated. What is happening? American people, they did not vaccinate it.
Sir.
If we vaccinated,
Sir, shall we take some questions
of
from
course,
the front? Nibo?
Of course.
We need to actually, I think the next session people are already here, you know.
Okay.
So sir is here still. We have the panel with us. We can take maybe one or two questions. Okay, Dr. Mamoon. Yeah.
Make my question now?
Yeah,
Okay.
speak it, yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. I really enlightened with your dynamic leadership. It's really encouraging for us. Myself, Professor Mamoon, I am a professor of digital health in United University, as well as scientist running the largest R&D lab. So I have the question to the panelists as well as you, sir, and I really admire your dynamic leadership. So we are having a physician-centric healthcare in Bangladesh, or rather patient-centric healthcare. The world is moving on patient-centric healthcare. If we want to do that, we need to have a health literacy, quality of care, trust, and strong referral systems. So what you are seeing, the challenges from the government, private, and development side, how can we address it and how can we achieve it? And my second question is, we are mostly import-dependent country. And
I think we covered that.
we are import-dependent country. How can we do a export-dependent country through R&D and intellectual properties so that our dollar crisis could be reduced in the future? We are not saying that. These are the two questions to you and audience. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question is your answer is very easy. Our panelists discuss every day near about 2 billion going
abroad,
for
yes.
the going out. If our doctor, nurse, everybody is very much helpful. If the patient is not visit outside the country, the $2 billion in our country. Not only that, there is another question, and there is a equipment. Very important question, Madam rightly mentioned. We have a country, we have a doctor, we have a nurse, we have a hospital, but we have no equipment industry also. All equipment import from here. Not only there is a very tragedy also. We have no biomedical engineer also. When I was not long time in the health sector, I was only 1 year, 2 months, 6 days.
So
what I did.
Dr. Busha, would you like to answer
only
that
14
one?
months,
Right.
Busha, your attention. Only 14 months, what we did, we set up a standard setup near about doctor. Standard was 1:3 nurse, but we did it on 1:2.6. Then total nurse will be near about, doctor will be 96,000, nurses will be near about 1,12,000, and medical technology same number, total number we 4,75,000. It require, I think it will be fulfilled in 2027. After 2027, if we are committed, nobody will visit outside of the Bangladesh. Those who are very rich people, those who are very amazed, they did there. As far as a simple reply, sorry, you will be happy. What is happening during COVID? Those who are rich men, they, Saheb Bibi Ghulam, they fly in Dubai. Even they took Moderna vaccine. They stay in Dubai hotel, spend 20 lakh taka. 20 lakh
No,
taka.
sir, I think most of us took the vaccine.
20 lakh taka. But what I did, initially people did not take the vaccine. If somebody had criticized, if you took vaccine, you may live or die. Then Honorable Prime Minister asked them for secretary, all secretary or minister take vaccine. I was the first I take vaccination also. So I take AstraZeneca twice, but I have a very much interesting that those who are this man, they're taking Moderna, Pfizer also. My housekeeper, I give him a Moderna. My driver, I give him a Pfizer also. So it is possible. And they spend 20 lakh taka those who fly Dubai.
Like,
but it is possible. Your question is very much easier. Gentlemen, if I very much committed, sincere, if I do perform our duty properly, within few days we can reduce. Not only that, it is possible. Within 2 hours. Absolutely right. When COVID was 2 years, nobody fly because that was, sky was stopped, nobody fly. Everybody are taking, but those who are this man, they are not die. After COVID, everybody are fly, Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia also.
So Dr. Busha wants to add something to that. Yeah.
Thank you. Just to answer your question, Professor Mahmood, to have it as a people-centric one, what we need to do is really going back to what Runa had mentioned here, is really start from the community level. And that is what the government is aspiring. And really in our 5th sector program, which we are in the planning stage, and you know how big that's going to be. And on that, we would like to take, and also just to add on, because I think you had touched on the NCDs, and especially for NCDs, what we want is to have the screening in. This is a discussion that is also led by the government, along with all development partners, is really take a person, screen the person, have the data of the person, so when the person goes anywhere within the system, he can be picked up. So you have a unique number. We wanted to first link it to the smart cards, but that's not possible because in our country you have to be 18 years. So the patient won't be of 18 years only, they can be of student ID, but everyone is not even a student. So, looking into all of it, we'll give them a unique identification number, and once everyone has a birth registration number or any sort of card, then we link it to it. And that is what we are really looking into, just to answer your question.
I add something. Busha is rightly mentioned. By this time, Ministry of Health take a action plan that was 25,000 crore taka. If it is not COVID, if it is not Ukraine-Russia war, I think it will be done. Because if anywhere, any place, you show your doctor, test, everything, if you got a code number, if your digital number, if you come to the court, any places, just punch, you show it. It will be done within 3 or 4 years. Our ICT advisor, Shojip, under the leadership of ICT advisor, Shojip Joy, it is ongoing. I think within 1 or 2 years, you are getting 50%. And next 1.5 years, it will be, please, madam.
Thank you so much, sir. My name is Trina Hassan. I'm from an international organization called Swiss Contact. I work in Swiss Contact Bangladesh, especially in a project called ASTHA, that is Achieving Sustainability Towards Healthcare Access. So we basically work with the last mile healthcare workers, which you have been, all the panelists has been talking about. So my question is that basically to the panel members, is that we see the Sajida Foundation, Friendship, World Bank, and other organizations as well. So what Swiss Contact is specialized in, they're the entrepreneurship they develop the entrepreneurship ecosystem. So as community paramedics, at the very new concept, it has been starting only from 2011 actually. So my question to the panelist member is that what can we do as an international organization to develop the women entrepreneurs in the last mile healthcare workers? To be specific, community paramedics can do, they have the accreditation to set up their own clinics, and they have the accreditation to get jobs in another organization, a salaried job. However, Swiss Contact is finding it very difficult to produce women and entrepreneur in general, healthcare entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs. So that is my question to anyone, if anyone wants to. Thank
if I may take this. First of all, why are we needing women healthcare workers in a community? All right. Because there's not no availability of other healthcare workers. So you are needing someone who is going to remain in the community. Okay? As soon as you're trained, if you're going to take them out, your problem is not solved. So this is starting from this very specific problem is why we started making entrepreneurs and even school teachers. You know, we take people who are below metric or have just done metric, have failed metric, doesn't matter. You know, there are various reasons. And then we train them over a period of time, not only through a training program, but also over 2 years on the site. And then we can give them A, B, C, and D. There are 4 kinds. The A's go A, B, and we train the C's to also work with our mHealth. You know, we've done more than 5-6 million services already with our mHealth. So we link them to that, and they can give direct services. Accreditation, of course, because the government has accredited the book, we can give them a certification, and also the business modality, then we train them in business. Now, the thing is that we need to, one thing, sir, what you also said, Dr. Mamoon, you know, it's all a question of starting off with one element, which is deep ethics. You know, this is the thing that we need to nurture, be it through academics, be it through offices, be it through anything. If this is nurtured, half your problem is solved. Half the problems that we have in this country are solved. So, also the thing that we do is we try to tell them what they can't do. The rules of what they cannot do is as important as what they can do. Because the fear of God has to come into them that they can kill somebody immediately if they do not follow the protocols. And it is this, ensuring, being tough on this, because you can always have rules, you can always expand, you know, but if your management and your protocols are not followed and you are not ensuring the following of that protocol, you know, we do something very simple. I'm talking about simplicity because you need to think of a very complex problem, and only when you understand a complex problem very deeply can you bring it down to a level of simplicity which can be implemented by everybody. So what we do is we give them medicines, the workers, the community friendship community medic aids, we give them medicine, so they come to buy the medicines from us and not from the local market. First, we give them the best medicines. We don't make any money on the medicines. We work with the medicine companies to give us a cheaper medicine, so they all want to buy from us. And when they come to us, we give them a training. So the training cost is hardly anything. But they come to us, we can ensure that they're in the loop. So you see, there is a kind of, what is it that you're really wanting? You know, what is it that the organization is really wanting? I think this is extremely important.
Yes, if I can pick up from there. So there are many modules that all the different NGOs are implementing. They have their own selective modules that they have designed themselves. I have seen one in the care where they give a 6 months private community skilled birth attendant, and you have like local women entrepreneurs who used to earn maybe a $16 per month, and they scaled up their what do you call it, like the remuneration much higher. So you have to seek the different kind of modules. So we have to wrap up the session today. I think we covered a lot of topics, the universal health coverage, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Universal health coverage. We also covered a tip like a bit of climate change and mitigation, adaptation. These are all keywords, and despite the many constraints, I think Bangladesh is still moving ahead. And disparately, though, we need a more cohesive manner. We need more cohesive strategy, and I'm sure the young generation we can.
Before
yes,
closing,
sir.
I would like to just a simple information. Our Honorable Prime Minister has a special project that is called community healthcare.
Yes.
It's excellent. Right now there are about 14,560 community clinics. I was born and brought up in village. When I was a school student, then if my mother is fever, he sent me to the Kabiras. Kabiras give me a body and give some herbal 5 to 6 program. 2-3 days needed to, to collect the herbal. But right now what is happening? 30 type of medicine free of cost. Now there is no doctor, medical provider. 80% medicine, 80% diseases have come. People, villager people are very good. Their healthcare is very good. If I frequently visit my house, there is 80. Not only that, you say the average age of the lady is 75, but in our villages, most of the lady they are 80. They are very smart working. And but how we are? But we are very good. Hospital is there. There is no problem.
Sir, আমাদের ওইটাই কথা যে কমিউনিটি ক্লিনিকগুলোকে একটু উজ্জীবিত করতে হবে।
80% এখন come to the বাংলা, ইংরেজি বাদ দিয়ে এখন বাংলায় আসি।
হ্যাঁ।
তাতে এখন সরকার যেটা করেছে বাংলাদেশে দেখেন, এই যে কমিউনিটি মেডিকেল কলেজ হাসপাতালের করে 80% অসুখ ভালো হয়ে যায়। উপজেলা হাসপাতালকে 100 বেড থেকে 50 বেড থেকে 100 বেডে উন্নীত করা হয়েছে। এরপরে যে সেবাটা ম্যাক্সিমাম ওখানে হয়ে যায়। এবং নট অনলি দ্যাট, আমাদের যারা এই ম্যাটারনিটির ব্যাপারে যেগুলি আমরা যাচ্ছি, ধরেন আপনাদের এখানে যারা ম্যাডামরা বেশি ডক্টর আছেন, কারোর যদি বাচ্চা হওয়ার সম্ভাবনা থাকে, প্রফেসরের কাছে বাচ্চা হওয়ার কোনো ডাক্তার, কোনো প্রফেসরের দরকার নাই। নর্মাল যে কোনো একজন মেডিকেল সর্বোচ্চ অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট প্রফেসর,
স্যার,
বাট সবাই প্রফেসর।
ইন্টারাপ্ট করার জন্য দুঃখিত, আপনারই সেকেন্ড আরেকজন অন্য প্যানেলের সব গেস্ট চলে আসছে আমাদের এখানে। যে we spoke about women entrepreneurship and all, and I think it's well reflected that women are very well represented even today in our panel. And I'll just wrap up the session for now. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for being here today.